It's a waiver wire Wednesday. We're rolling into week 3. A lot of you guys already did your pickups, and you're here for that confirmation bias. Some of you guys got waivers rolling tonight, and you need to know who to pick up. We've been talking about the waiver wire since Sunday, even when the games were playing. We don't stop. We go deeper than everybody else. We keep talking about it. And we're going to do that today. We're covering all positions in this video. Before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're talking about these players every day, doing deep dives or deep dive into waiver wire. We're helping you set your lineups. We did a running back ranking video not so long ago today. And then we're going to look at all the matchups for the week, using that to help you set your lineups, plus battle videos and more deep dives. Click that button. Stop missing out. Ric Flair's watching. You do not want to disappoint Ric Flair. First guy off the waiver wire today, Mac Jones. Mac Jones. Looking solid. Looking solid. You got Christian McCaffrey there to bail him out. Has a nice security blanket there. He's looking in, targeting Jennings. He's also looking at old Ricky. He's getting slick with that. Mac Jones is not afraid to sling the rock. He's proven that wherever he's been at. He looked good last year with the Jaguars. Brian Thomas Jr. Brian Thomas Jr. had some of his best games last year with him. I think this is a solid get. If you're looking for like a 1 or 2 week pickup, Quentin Johnston is here, folks. He should be rostered. But again, look at the routes ran. 36, 30. Target separation for fantasy points. He's leading the wide receivers on the Chargers. ADOT above 15, 15.2 when you combine both games, 16.5 last week. Back-to-back games with touchdowns. Back-to-back games with 7 targets. Steady carousel effect with these wide receivers. Everything's concentrated to them. I don't think matchups are really going to matter. He's also a dart throw wide receiver who can splash on any given Sunday, but he's getting better every single year. Cam Skattebo got his opportunities. He got his opportunities. He got 11 rushing attempts. You're not starting him this week against the Chiefs. He's not in my top 30 rankings. I'll let you know about that. But if you want to check that out, hit that subscribe button and go look at it. We got the Chiefs, but we got Chargers, Saints, Philly, Denver, rough outings. We're on an offense that it's going to be in weird game scripts. Very good running back out of Arizona State, plus out of sack. And now you're looking at Cam here. Good vision, contact balance, good in the open field. Good guy to have at the end of your bench. Chig Okonkwo is running a lot of routes, getting a lot of opportunities, 6 targets last game. It's not hitting in fantasy points. The good tight end should have already been picked up, though. Juwan Johnson, Harold Fanning, they were on last week's waiver wire. We talked about them. Everybody's hurt at tight end, so they were picking them up. Chig Okonkwo is getting volume. You got the Colts matchup, which could be higher scoring. You also got Houston on the road. Then you got Arizona. Raiders game might be tougher than realized. You got Patriots coming up. Again, you're throwing them in when you're hurting at tight end. Carson Wentz. People are too scared to talk about him. But we're on the Vikings. This team has a history of making backup quarterbacks look good. Justin Jefferson can make them look good. Faster-paced offense. We got injuries at the running back position. I don't think it's going to matter. He's a sneaky play here. You got the Bengals here. That's a game script that could go a number of different directions. Not a must throw in, but you're also looking at the waiver wire and you're looking at skeptical quarterbacks anyways. Carson Wentz, I know he's gone there on all of them. On all of them, unless it's super deep, super flex, super deep dynasty. But Carson Wentz is a guy to look at. Cedric Tillman should be rostered, but he's not always rostered, so we're always going to look at him. He's going to be up and down. Back-to-back games with touchdowns. Back-to-back games with 7+ targets. Running almost 50 routes a game. He has 94 routes on the season. That's up there. They're not always going to be like that. You're not starting him this week. You might catch him off the waiver wire next week. You got the Packers coming up. Michael Parsons. Rough quarterback play. The Browns should be hitting some turbulence. You should be seeing Dylan Gabriel, then Shedeur Sanders somewhere down the line. Maybe even Deshaun Watson. That's how bad the quarterback play is. Detroit, Minnesota, Pittsburgh. Maybe you shouldn't pick them up. But you also got to chase that volume. They're in weird game scripts. Do that quarterback play. Getting around 50 routes a game is a lot. Bhayshul, Tuten. Travis Etienne, if he goes down, Tuten's coming up. Even with just a couple touches, he could house it. He's that explosive. He should have been picked up last week We did like 3 or 4 videos on him last week. I should not be talking about him right now. But we are here talking about Bhayshul Tuten yet again. Talked about him all off season long. LeQuint Allen, third down running back. If you're in that deep of a territory, sure. Houston, San Fran, KC, Seattle. They may have to get creative with it. Bhayshul Tuten, though, good to have at the end of your bench. Brenton Strange is getting targets. He's getting an opportunity. Again, the top-tier waiver wire tight ends should already be gone. If they're there, Juwan Johnson, Harold Fanning, you know what to do. But Brenton Strange, targets, opportunities, routes ran, not hitting in fantasy yet. You got Houston, you got some rough matchups, but still, you're chasing volume here. It seems to be there here with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Sam Darnold is sneaky here in the right matchups. You got the Saints this week, Arizona, Tampa Bay, Jacksonville. So he should get you some good fantasy production coming up. He's a veteran name that you know about. He's targeting Jackson, Smith, and Jigba in a heartbeat. He's also looking at Cooper Kupp more, and they're running the ball effectively. This is a team in the right game script where they could allow Sam Darnold to cook a little bit more this season. He should have some good weeks this year. Troy Franklin is a huge pickup for me. He is legitly on most waiver wires. He should have been drafted in a lot of 12-team leagues, especially in Underdog. And now you're seeing the routes ran 28 a game. So that's going to go up in some of these matchups if they got to shoot it out. That's going to go up there. He's leading the team in separation. His separation score is beating Mecca Buka. He is looking solid. His separation score is beating a lot of wide receivers out there. His ADOT's a little bit lower at 7.7 on the season. But you got Cortland Sutton as the deep ball merchant on the team anyway, so that just makes sense. Due to the pass schedules on the team, he should be volatile a little bit. Like, you should catch some down games out of him. This Chargers game should be a rougher matchup. That should lend them to throw the ball a little bit more, actually, because they've been locking down running backs. Look for him to get some of those ancillary short targets. He could rack up 5, 6 to 10 targets in this game, and it may not be like crazy, but it's enough volume to get you by in this rough matchup. Then you got Cincy and probably something similar with Philly and the Jets. Moving on to Trey Benson, one of the top handcuff running backs in the league. He's out there making plays, even with James Conner cooking every single Sunday. That is something to note. That is something to pay attention to. Trey Benson is one of the top handcuffs. If he's not rostered, go get him and just stash. Zach Ertz is going to see 5+ targets a game. He's going to get a lot of opportunity, and they're looking his way, especially in the red zone. They're trying to get the deep ball to Terry McLaurin. Deep ball getting the short to intermediate. But Zach Ertz, that's allowing him to eat a little bit more. Honestly, that's allowing him to get some opportunities because you got to keep those 2 wide receivers in check. And now you got Zach Ertz just hovering around the middle, getting it in the zone, and there we are. Trevor Lawrence is going to be in some prime opportunities. I like the change in coaching staff here. I like how they're implementing the running backs. They're just always in weird game scripts. They're not a super clean team either, which is also good for fantasy football because they're going to be in these rocky road game scripts. His floor is probably like the Carolina game. That was a very weird game script because they were up. Rain delays, all that. You got Houston. You got some rougher games where you're probably not going to use them. You got Seattle. You got the Rams coming up. He's going to be a guy we're looking at off the waiver wire all season long. Elic Ayomanor is one of my top waiver wire gets. We talked about him extensively last week. Back-to-back games with 28 routes ran, 8 out of 16.1. He's getting deep targets downfield, and he's getting a good volume of targets. 7 and 6 with all your targets being like 10 yards plus. He had a 19-8 out first game, 12.7 to second game. His average should be around 12 or 13 from what we're seeing and how he's being implemented. And with him getting 5+ targets a game, and there's going to be games 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, he's going to have more splash performances. You got a game here against the Colts where the ball is going to be going back and forth a little bit more. You got Houston on the road. You got Arizona. You got some good game scripts coming up for Elic Ayomanor. Big pickup off the waiver wire here for week 3. Ollie Gordon is a handcuff. He was a guy that we were watching as like a 1B back, but now he's down to handcuff status. But the Dolphins in weird game scripts, they're moving the football one way or the other, whether it's good or bad. And they're in some matchups here where they got to funnel it. You got that Carolina game in week 5. He's a stash play at the moment. Daniel Jones has been cooking. You said this during the offseason. All he has to do is facilitate the football a little bit, and he'll be all right for the Colts, and the Colts will be sneaky to back into the playoffs. We're seeing that. And I think back into the playoffs might be a little bit too light on what I called earlier, but it was safe and down the middle. Tennessee, Rams, Raiders, Arizona. The thing is, you got Jonathan Taylor there to bail you out. You're 4 deep at wide receiver. You got Tyler Warren. This is a safe player off the waiver wire if you can catch him. Should have been picked up last week, though. Wan'Dale Robinson is a hot name off the waiver wire this week. Against the Chiefs, he's going to be hard to start, but it might be a good risky start for you if you have to play that route. 37 routes ran on week 1, 35 week 2. ADOT jumped up to 16.7. Maybe they're figuring out they can also chuck it deep to him because he's been a short target merchant his whole career, but at Kentucky he was getting deep balls, so it was hard to understand that. Malik Neighbors is always going to get all the targets, but he's got 18 targets in 2 games, 70+% snap rate in both games. You're looking at this, he's on the field, he's getting work. If you need work at wide receiver, this is a perfect get for you. Blake Corum, if I have Kyron Williams, now's the time to step in and get your handcuff. Now's the time to do that. The efficiency metrics are still looking bad on Kyron Williams. The volume's starting to lighten up a little bit, and McVay's starting to say, hey, we're looking to share some of this workload. Looks like more of a 60-40, 65-35 split here. Again, he's not startable right now. He did score a touchdown. He's looking good on the field. His tape's looking good. Sound alarm on Blake Corum. He's going to get a you need video or something. Dontayvion Wicks came in line here with 22 routes ran here in week 2 against the Washington Commanders. Reed is out. He's going to be out for a bit. You're looking at Wicks here, and he's going to get more opportunity, more work. He's going to get deep targets downfield. Sometimes he brings them in. Sometimes he drops them. That's what we saw last year. He's not the safest play, but he's a good gamble bit in this carousel effect here for the Packers. Ray Davis is one of the top handcuff running backs in the league. Should be rostered in most leagues, but also in a lot of leagues, these handcuff running backs go through the carousel effect of the waiver wire. They get stash, drop, pick back up, stash, drop, pick back up. If he's there, he's in an offense with good volume, proven to give you RB2 results when given the opportunity, and Cook's getting a lot of touches, running backs getting a lot of touches. They're running backs, running back things happens to them. Romeo Doubs is the safest play right now on the Packers. He's always a guy. No matter what year it is, no matter what's the time, who's the president, Romeo Doubs is always on the waiver wire. He's usually like 3rd, 4th, 5th in line off the waiver wire. We're always looking at him. He's always in the waiver wire videos. He's always that safer throw-in off the Packers that you just throw in, and you just pray that he brings in that ball, scores the touchdown, and you got some matchups coming up. Like, you do not want him against the Browns. Cowboys, that's going to be an interesting one with that Micah Parsons revenge game. You could see some of these wide receivers hitting in that. Kendre Miller, an underappreciated stash right now. And if you're in a 12-team league and you're like, hey, not my league, pal, and all these guys, and you're one of those types of dude, and you got to understand that there's leagues out here where we're scouting high school players and we're stashing them throughout their collegiate career, and we're going so deep as we're looking at guys and freshmen football right now and all that stuff and those rankings, that there's no too deep of a league out there. But if you're looking for that, Kendre Miller is a running back that's underappreciated right now. Something happens to Kamara. He's getting work. He's getting opportunities. It's limited because you got Kamara. But he's out there. He's getting the work. He's explosive. He's stayed on this team for this long with him being a doghouse forever due to the injuries. If something happens with these weird-ass game scripts Spencer Rattler's dragging this team into, Kendre Miller might be a guy that hits for you if something happens to Kamara. Kayshon Boutte's run a lot of routes. Should have been picked up last week. He led the team in routes ran pretty much for the last year or so. 44 routes week 1, 23 week 2. So 22 routes against Miami lets you know, like, hey, he only got 1 target and got a touchdown with it. But we're also running half less routes, but getting a 21 ADOT and a 17.4 ADOT. We're getting deep targets downfield, which means more than likely you're running deeper routes downfield, so you're not going to get all those targets, but when you do, those are money targets. So when you're racking up like 8 targets in a contest, or it's a tighter contest, Kayshon Boutte has the potential to go off for you. DJ Giddens, if I have Jonathan Taylor, DJ Giddens might be a must for me. Very explosive, very elusive running back. Good prospect profile. Kansas State. Fell in a draft when he shouldn't have. I liked him throughout the draft process. Something happens to Jonathan Taylor. You're going to want DJ Giddens. People are going to blow fab like crazy on him because people are going to start noticing him as a prospect when they were too scared to talk about him. DJ Giddens has a lot of upside with this Daniel Jones offense that's facilitating football. And the Colts offense here is an offense you want to invest in. You're looking at Joshua Palmer. He should be rostered, but in some leagues, guys are getting thrown to the wind. He's only got you like 17 points or almost 17 points in 2 weeks. So he might be out there still. In that game, he led the team in targets and opportunities, but only ran 21 routes. It was a slower-paced game script against the Jets. Game script matters. That's why we do a whole video covering all the game scripts every single week. That being said, ADOT's 12.8, 12 and 13, weeks 1 and 2. That's solid. Deep balls downfield. We're getting targets. We're getting opportunities. We got some matchups here. Dolphins, Saints, Falcons later on the road. And these guys are in higher game scripts, higher over-unders. Joshua Palmer's a guy to chase. Tyler Algier, if you're looking for a veteran running back that gets touches, if you have Bijan Robinson, he's an auto pickup. He always is. He's always going to have a couple games like this where he hits big. He's getting opportunities. He's very dependable. He's good between the tackles. He's just always going to have a few games like this. That's going to happen. He's got Carolina. If you're that hurt at running back, or if you're in a deeper league, you should be rostered in deeper leagues considering the Bijan Robinson status handcuff. And on top of that, handcuffs in general, he's like one of the better guys to get in the league. You're looking at him if you're looking for a running back like this. Calvin Austin. I like the ADOT. I like the volume in the offense. 35 routes ran in week 2. 4 targets, 1 ball caught. So it looks lighter than that, but we're still running a lot of routes in the offense, and we're getting deep targets. He's a throw-in player and pray to the gods type of dude because you never know when he's going to hit. Because when you got an ADOT that's pushing 15, let alone 17.6, you're running a good bit of routes on the field, you're getting some opportunity. All you got to do is cash in on that big play. Dylan Sampson, now he did not lead the team in touches, but you got to understand, this Browns team is already calling for a new quarterback. We're already starting to look at a youth era here for the Browns. Judkins, Sampson, those two should be, or at least projected to be, somewhere down the line sharing the workload. He's getting work in the passing game. He's elusive. He's explosive. He's the rookie with a full training camp. We like Judkins better, obviously, but we're also looking at the waiver wire. People are going to saw that he only got 4 rushing attempts, 3 targets, 10.9 fantasy points. They're not going to want to stash as long. Look at him off the waiver wire. Luther Burden is one of my favorite lottery ticket stashes at wide receiver. I don't think the Bears are at stage to play around with development. They got to figure this out to see if they can get in it to win it. But still, Luther Burden could rear his head. 15 rounds in 2 games. Just stash play, just lottery ticket. We got to look at everything. Jaydon Blue, same thing. He hasn't had a snap yet, hasn't been out there, but running backs are going to running back. Running backs are going to get hurt. There's going to be turnover somewhere down the line with some of these backfields. This is a guy that has 4.3 speed, catches the ball out of the backfield, very elusive, very explosive. Then on top of that, he's got that name cachet that even if you don't like him, if he breaks off a couple good runs, you can just trade him. You can just get rid of him if you don't like him. That's the thing about him, and get more than what you paid for. So that's something to pay attention to. Hard to stash in traditional 12-man leagues, but you could also carve out a spot for random lottery tickets, and a lot of these random lottery tickets are starting to rear their head, so maybe you can, maybe you can't, but this is another lottery ticket you need to look at here for week 3 and into the future. Those are 30 plays to look at off the waiver wire. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.